Dr. Miller, you've worked in science policy and industry, and now, as you mentioned earlier, you've authored a book. What made what made you write it at this point in your career, and who do you hope it gets to?
Well, thanks, Sia. As you know, I joined, I shifted my work focus to vaccine confidence and misinformation, which led me to join the board of Why We Vax for a year and stuff. But early on in the pandemic, 2020, late 2020 into 21, 22, friends and family were asking me because they knew I'd worked in health science and communications for a long time. They were asking me, how do they respond? How do they talk with their friends, their family members, people they work with who were spouting misinformation about vaccines or COVID or related things? And I searched around all the organizations I'd worked with or knew about, couldn't find anything, really digestible and practical to provide them, but this is what you do. So that's when I started to think I need to write this book. Um, I can hold it up. Hopefully, Zoom helps. Reversing misinformation, how to help your family, friends, and community. And the case studies are vaccines and COVID, but also gets in a little bit about elections and climate change. And I wrote the book for them, for my friends, family, and everybody like them, because it's clear that there's a large population of people who are struggling with this and they don't know how to respond. And it's not a book about how to talk with these people, not at them, not correct them. And it can result in things over the long term of getting those people who are misinformed to loosen their grip on their misinformation. So they end up doing things like getting vaccinated or supporting public health measures. And the end result is better relationships between people who may have had different perspectives, if you will, about things like vaccines, and also stronger communities and ultimately stronger economy and better national security. Something else we can talk about because I think one of the lessons of the pandemic is if we have a infection spreading across the community, it hurts the economy. Businesses know if their employees can't come to work or can't be productive, that hurts the business. And as we've seen, it hurts national security. We've seen this with diabetes and obesity, where the military can't, even get recruits who are fit. And I can go on and on, but I'll leave it at that. See, can I also comment around something that Stephen Luber mentioned about, the medical freedom
Yeah.
construct? Because there's this uh, the percentage of people who are vaccine questioning sort of pre-COVID has gone from about 1 to 3% to now about 15%. And there was recently an article I read that described a large cohort of those 15% as the Maha moms, or the people who are supporting this Make America Healthy Again construct. And they divide into three groups. First group is people who have fear of vaccines or fear of medical interventions because they have a sick child who has some, illness, that chronic illness could be autism, could be a lot of other things. Oh, and by the way, the CDC report yesterday showed that we don't really have an increase in autism rate. We have an increase in diagnosis of autism because of awareness and better screening. So that first group, they have fear, and they run the political spectrum. The second group is sort of the natural, healthy, or what's called crunchy group. They really think that, everything should be, natural, this and that. And they tend to be left-leaning. They represent sort of a remnant of the pre-COVID vaccine questioning or resistant group. And then the third group is, I think what Steve alluded to, the medical freedom movement, when they tend to be more right-leaning politically. They have a strong sense of autonomy about I get to choose and everything else. So the first group spectrum. They've got mistrust, the natural group, left leaning, maybe more little autonomy, a little mistrust of biopharma and everything, and then the other. So it's a big spectrum of people. You can't just box these people into one category, and that's just the mom group. There's others that we can talk about later if you want.
That's a
So thanks
great
for
point.
letting.
Um, Thank you for that. I think even as somebody, I've worked in the vaccines industry, but I'm not a public health expert. I'm not a health communicator per se. But I know this is the right thing to do. And it's so hard to talk to family and friends, even those closest to you. It's just hard to break through and translate. So the work you're doing is critical. And your points on meeting people where they are with respect to their particular concerns is also something that I think we could all do better with.
You talk with them, not at them. You can't
Yeah.
correct them. You got to listen to them.
Yeah. Um, so I think we'll circle back to that, these ideas around kind of empathy and community.